Part 69. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womang. Chapter 681. Yes, miss. In an instant, several figures appeared and surrounded the girl. The two maids entered the room and quickly packed Suliang and Tao Yaoyao's things, and then everyone set off back together. The other side. Under Tao Yaoyao's anxiety, Suliang moved forward at full speed, and in less than a moment, he had arrived at the demon sect family. However, the demon sect family in front of them looked calm and peaceful, with no sign of being attacked at all. Although she was confused, Tao Yaoyao didn't care so much and landed directly in her mother's yard. She rushed into the room while calling her mother. Then, I saw a man sitting enjoying tea and waiting leisurely for his mother. Mother, what are you? Tao Yaoyao Tan's mouth opened wide. For a moment, she had no idea what was going on. Didn't it mean that my mother had been injured, even seriously injured and on the verge of death? Why does it look so good now? Tao Yaoyao didn't expect anything, but the gap between reality and the information she got from her sister was so big that Tao Yaoyao couldn't react for a while. I am fine. The beautiful woman said lightly. Only you, an idiot, would be deceived by such a clumsy lie. Immediately. Then he looked behind Tao Yaoyao. Suliang, who looked calm and indifferent as expected, smiled and said, "It's a bit beyond my expectation that such a steady person as my wise son-in-law is willing to accompany us to play around. The good son-in-law should have discovered it a long time ago, right? What did you discover? What did you do? What happened?" Tao Yaoyao was completely confused. Chapter 895, Approval from Mother-in-Law. What exactly is going on? Tao Yaoyao couldn't help but ask. It's really uncomfortable to feel like everyone knows the truth, but you are kept in the dark. The truth is, nothing happened at home. The beautiful woman smiled lightly. Then, why? Tao Yaoyao was a little confused. Since nothing happened, why would her sister say something happened to her mother? How could she be so seriously injured? Could it be that in order to lie to herself, she deliberately injured herself? That's not true. Tao Yaoyao has always felt that she has a very good relationship with her sister. She shouldn't be so cruel to herself just to deceive her, right? Actually, when I checked just now, I found that nothing happened to her. Suliang said helplessly. The injury does look very realistic, but if you examine it carefully, you can find that it is disguised with some kind of elixir. Of course, if you weren't much stronger, you wouldn't be able to find it. This is why Tao Yaoyao couldn't find it, but Suliang could. In this world, there are people whose cultivation levels are much higher than Suliang's. Chapter 589. Chapter 588. Sure enough, will love disappear? Does it really exist? Then, why did you lie to me like this? Tao Yaoyao looked at her mother in confusion. Of course she believed that her husband would not harm her. In other words, since he followed her and kept it secret from her, and then brought her back, there must be a reason. But she wanted to know what the reason was. Perhaps, just to let you go home and see. Suliang guessed and said, while looking at his mother-in-law. I don't know if my guess is correct. Yes, that's exactly it. The beautiful woman smiled and nodded. As expected of a good son-in-law, his guess was so accurate. So, how did my stupid daughter find such a husband? This vision is really unexpectedly good. Just let me go home. Tao Yaoyao didn't understand. Just tell me directly. Can I still come back to this? Suliang and the beautiful woman both looked at Tao Yaoyao helplessly. Have you forgotten how you came back last time? It was brought back by his sister with a group of guards. For this reason, Suliang almost misunderstood and got into a fight with those guards. I'm just telling you, How could you possibly come back? After thinking about this, Suliang sighed. In order for Tao Yaoyao to return home, my mother-in-law really worked hard. Feeling the attention of everyone, Tao Yaoyao shrank her neck subconsciously, feeling a little unsure. Obviously. She also knew about her own situation. Okay, I know. Tao Yaoyao pouted in dissatisfaction. Now that I'm back, there shouldn't be anything else, right? If that's the case, I will take Brother Suliang away. There are so many places I want to go with Brother Suliang, how can I be at home all the time? Very boring. However, the beautiful woman shook her head lightly. For these 2 days, you and your son-in-law will stay at home and don't go anywhere. Although your current strength is extraordinary, your mother's wish will not be rejected by your virtuous son-in-law, right? She said this to Suliang. Obviously. Since the last time she saw Suliang, even the beautiful woman did not expect that the strength of the husband her daughter found would change so quickly. It made her feel vaguely invisible. She was really worried that her daughter's husband would take this girl away regardless of her because he doted on her daughter too much. She really may not be able to stop her. Don't worry, madam, I will stay at home with Yao Yao these 2 days. Hearing this, the beautiful woman showed a smile, nodded lightly. With your relationship with Yao Yao, there is no need to call me madam. Then, aunt. No need, just call her by the same name as Yao Yao. Ahem. Is this enough to call me mother? Why do I feel that the mother-in-law in front of me is more beautiful than my sister's mother? This feeling is really indescribable. Is this the behavior of the demon sect family? Then, Suliang called out honestly. Although his expression did not change, Suliang could also find that his mother-in-law's smile seemed more sincere. Then, after giving him many gifts, he asked him to take Tao Yaoyao back to rest with him. Along the way, after dealing with Tao Yaoyao's sisters, the two finally returned to Tao Yaoyao's room. Sitting at the table, Tao Yaoyao poured a cup of tea by herself, drank it all in one gulp, pouted, and said with dissatisfaction and grievance. Brother Suliang is good or bad? Brother Suliang doesn't love me anymore. Stop it. Suliang felt a little headache. When did Tao Yaoyao learn this trick? Hey, no, Tao Yaoyao seems to be a little witch to begin with. Does this seem normal? Mu Qingqian, on the other hand, would be very surprised if he behaved like this. That's what it is. Tao Yaoyao uncharacteristically refused to listen to Suliang's words and continued to mutter. It's okay to lie to me with my sister, but actually, I listened to my mother and didn't take her away with me. She is your wife, so you don't have to listen to what your mother-in-law says. Humph, sure enough, will love disappear, brother Suliang? Looking at Suliang with tears in her eyes, Tao Yaoyao twitched and said, if you dare to say yes, I will cry for you. Okay, don't be unhappy, it was my fault. Suliang held Tao Yaoyao in his arms and comforted her for a while. I apologize to you. I will just listen to whatever you say. Except for taking you away, of course. After all, I had just promised my mother-in-law, and now I have changed my mind. It is really inappropriate. Okay, if that's the case, then tonight, I want Brother Suliang to take the initiative, and I want you to enjoy it. Tao Yaoyao took the opportunity to make her request. And what's more, I want a massage from Brother Suliang. While talking, my villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 682. Tao Yaoyao immediately kicked off her shoes. Her white, tender, delicate, and cute feet rested on Suliang's body. She is not a little girl anymore. How is it possible to cry and complain about grievances? All the grievances and cries are in exchange for greater benefits. Hey, Brother Suliang loves me so much, he will definitely agree, right? Yes, yes, I'll satisfy you. Seeing his wife's cute appearance, Suliang couldn't help but shake his head and smile. Immediately. Then he took hold of Tao Yao Yao's feet and started massaging them carefully. Smooth and tender, as soft as boneless, but with a little elasticity, it is the most slender and delicate time. For Suliang, giving his wife a massage is actually a reward for himself. Immediately, Suliang suddenly remembered something and said, "Now that it's over, you can finally tell me. Did you guys discuss it in advance? Of course, I finally have some leisurely time, so of course I have to enjoy it." Tao Yao Yao said matter-of-factly. Is that so? Moreover, he actually planned the time very wisely. Why is this so? Suliang was speechless and helpless. After 2 days in the demon sect family, Suliang felt pretty good. Very different from concubine Tan's enthusiasm, Tao Yao Yao's mother was enthusiastic, but still somewhat restrained. Although he often came to chat with Suliang and Tao Yao Yao, the time each time was not too long. It can be said that Suliang and Tao Yao Yao were left with enough time to be alone. And in these few days, in addition to accompanying his wife, the most important thing Suliang did was play with Tao Yao Yao's younger sisters. Take them with Tao Yao Yao to explore a secret place of opportunity, or teach them how to practice. With Suliang's current level of cultivation, even the head of the demon sect family may not be his opponent. It is still possible to teach a few children. Thus, Tao Yao Yao's younger sisters all began to admire Suliang. Especially the youngest ones, they admired him so much that they almost wanted to hang on to their brother-in-law every day. Even the girl who called Tao Yao Yao back twice, the oldest girl besides Tao Yao Yao, also had a feeling of admiration for Suliang. She spoke softly and made some famous snacks for Suliang. Suliang eats. He is much closer than his sister Tao Yao Yao. After all, as the eldest sister, Tao Yao Yao has never received such treatment. On the contrary, it made Tao Yao Yao feel unhappy for a while. And when accompanying Tao Yao Yao wasted no time and took Suliang to study various training postures. Although it is not as good as Ying Kaoch, it is obviously extremely crazy. Suliang felt that after this time, he should take a good vacation for himself. Even the Hunyuan pure Yang Dao body cannot withstand such intensity. The pain is not much, but the happiness is really happy. Soon, it was time for the two of them to go back. Tao Yao Yao's mother took her younger sisters to see them off all the way to the door of the demon sex family. "Brother-in-law, I don't want you to go." The younger sister was still clinging to Suliang's body, hugging Suliang's neck and not wanting to let go. "These days, because of the arrival of my brother-in-law, there are so many fun things. My brother-in-law will take him to explore the secret realms that look very powerful. With his brother-in-law around, the journey will be very safe, just like having an adventure. When at home, my brother-in-law will also cook many delicious things for himself, as well as many fun things." Over the past 2 days, she felt like she had gained a little weight. Although at her age, she doesn't understand what's wrong with being fat. But, brother-in-law, it's delicious and fun. I still remember it very clearly. Especially in terms of cultivation, when my mother and sisters taught me how to practice, it was very boring, and I would be scolded and punished at every turn. But my brother-in-law is not like this. Not only does he encourage himself in various ways, but his explanations are also lively and interesting. All in all, I don't want my brother-in-law to leave. Since we are a family, let's live together. Little sister, my brother-in-law doesn't have time to fool around with you." The girl looked at her younger sister angrily, with a little blush on her pretty face. She walked forward and handed over the gift she had packed. "Brother-in-law, these are some snacks I made. Take them and remember to eat them. Don't worry, I will cherish it." Su Liang nodded and said with a smile. You too, remember to practice seriously. Your talent is pretty good, not worse than your sister's. Don't waste it. Well, thank you for your concern, brother-in-law. The girl nodded and stepped back. Immediately, Su Liang patted the little one hanging on his body again and looked at the little girls surrounding him. Okay, it's not like I won't come back. If I have time, I will take Yao Yao back to see you. Then, let's hook up. The little boy immediately let go of his hand and wanted to hook up with Su Liang. Then, with an ouch, he almost fell to the ground, but luckily Su Liang caught him. But, with her current level of cultivation, nothing would happen if she fell. Chapter 590 Chapter 589 The final chapter of Master's simulation is unlocked. Holding the little one in his arms, Su Liang stretched out his other hand. Okay, Lego, my brother-in-law will definitely do what he promised you. This time, the group of little girls surrounding Su Liang dispersed. Heaving a sigh of relief, Su Liang bowed to the beautiful woman. Auntie, I will take Yao Yao back right now. Well, be careful along the way and remember to come back often. The beautiful woman nodded and waved her hand. I saw that I was ready to say goodbye. Su Liang then took Tao Yao Yao with his sword and flew away. Talk about it. After being away from home for so many days, he had not seen Qin Benjiao, the first person who followed him out, for more than 10 days. I really miss it. It's better to go back quickly so that you can see your ladies earlier. At this moment, Tao Yao Yao nestled in Su Liang's arms, her jade hands on her belly, and she was lost in thought. What are you thinking about? Su Liang asked curiously. Brother Su Liang, tell me, will we have a baby? Tao Yao Yao still feels very sweet and shy when thinking about her experiences these past few days. Unexpectedly, he actually pulled his husband, so many times. And don't waste any of it. Is this actually something I can do? It feels a bit outrageous to think about it, but there is nothing I can do about it. I finally got the opportunity to be alone with my husband. My husband is so good, how can I bear it? When Su Liang heard Tao Yao Yao's question, he almost failed to control the flying sword and fell down with Tao Yao Yao. What is this girl thinking about? You are still just a baby. Although you are already a girl, your clumsy appearance is exactly like that of a little girl. Su Liang doubted whether she had given her IQ to her younger sisters. Where can there be such a stupid witch? That's it, are you still thinking about this? Rolling his eyes, Su Liang stopped talking to Tao Yao Yao and instead speeded up a bit. Go back, ignore this fool. Holy place, in the mansion. The girls gathered together and lay down side by side in the yard to bask in the sun. After all, I have been alone with my husband for a few days. Although I miss him at the moment, I don't miss him to the extent that I don't want to eat or drink. But Maud Lang Jun's life is indeed a bit boring, and he can't even muster the energy to practice. What else can be done? We can only lie down in rows and bask in the sun. Speaking of which, the sun is really nice today. Although there is no way to compare it with when Lang Jun was here, it can still be regarded as a very pleasant enjoyment. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 683. At this moment, Qin Benjiao suddenly said. Counting the time, Su Liang will be back with that girl Yao Yao today, right? Her words immediately aroused laughter from Tan Qinjia and Wan Sheng. This girl is obviously still a little girl, not much older than Tao Yao Yao, yet she is still called a little girl. What, do you want to hold a welcome ceremony for a Liang? Tan Qinjia said lazily, not wanting to move at all. Qin Benjao thought for a while and nodded gently. It seems like it's not impossible. It would be nice to arrange a ceremony to welcome your husband, etc. After all, I am very bored now. Although I can still suppress my longing for Lang Jun, I cannot help Lang Jun. Nothing seems to be interesting. How about making some preparations to welcome your husband back? After a brief discussion, the girls quickly reached a consensus. But how to welcome people is still a question that needs to be considered. Thinking about it carefully, my husband is coming back today, so there is obviously not much time left. You have to prepare quickly. But the reality is that this is a hot idea in their heads. Let alone how to take action, they don't even have anything to prepare. So, let's just wait for my good disciple to come back. Wan Qing lay back again, basking in the sun comfortably, and said happily. I think as long as we are all here, he won't care so much. Yuji also lay back down, also very comfortable. She didn't attend the date this time, but there was nothing she could do about it. Although she and Suliang had a tacit understanding of each other, others were already at the finish line, but she had just reached the starting point. It can only be said that although it is only a few months late, it is already completely behind, too far behind. There is nothing we can do about this. But Yuji didn't feel it was a pity at all. It didn't matter if she missed it this time, there would be another time. As long as he is by your side, everything else will be fine. Ordinary, but actually very happy. At this moment, Mu Qingqian suddenly stood up. How about we give senior brother Su a surprise? Surprise. The girls were stunned for a moment, a little inexplicable. What surprise? I obviously didn't prepare anything, not even nice new clothes, so how could I give this a surprise? It's very simple. As long as we all hide in the house, wait for senior brother Suliang to come in. Before she finished speaking, Mu Qingqian laughed happily. See this? All the girls were a little shocked. Good guy, if Qin Benjao, Tan Kinja, Wan Qing, or even Ying Kaoj and Qin Wanyu came up with this method, they wouldn't be surprised. But as a righteous goddess, Mu Qingqian would actually come up with such a plan? It's already shocking. And this method sounds like a good one. Although I had been playing with my husband for a few days, it was obviously a few days ago. Especially Qin Benjao, she hasn't seen her husband for more than half a month. I have been thinking about it so much for a long time that I almost can't bear it anymore. Just right? Then the girls hit it off immediately, and without saying a word, they all hid in the room. Certainly. It's Suliang's room. They specially put a very large bed into Suliang's room. Of course I don't need it normally, but for times like today, it's just right. Then, not long after the girls hid, Suliang finally brought Tao Yaoyao to the Holy Land. As soon as he landed at home, Suliang was stunned. It's strange, why is there no one at home? If in normal times, when I come back, wouldn't I be able to see my wife at first sight? Could it be that they haven't come back yet? It shouldn't be. Since they all agreed on the time, they naturally knew that they would be back today. Based on Suliang's understanding of his wives, they should all be at home. There can't be anything going on, right? Are you kidding me? I still have 11 He Yingji and Hong Chen at the top of my family. There is probably no one in this world who can beat me except myself. How could something happen? Then, with doubts in his heart, Suliang spread his perception and enveloped the entire mansion. Then, I found my ladies in my room. Now, my ladies seem to be scattered in every corner of their room. Do they feel like they are hiding? It's really strange, why hide? With this question, Suliang came to the door of his room, opened the door and walked in. Next moment, boom! The door was suddenly closed, and Qin Binjao and others poured out from all directions. Sulang, you are finally back. Qin Binjao immediately threw herself into Suliang's arms and hugged Suliang, obviously very happy. It has been more than half a month since I saw my husband. Why on earth did I choose the first one? She was indeed the first to go on a date with her husband, but the waiting time was also extremely long. Not happy, very unhappy. Now, feeling the warmth in her husband's arms and surrounded by her husband's breath, Qin Binjao was satisfied and felt that her life was complete. But the next moment, a few jade hands pulled Qin Binjao away, and then pulled Suliang over. The world was spinning for a while, and the next moment, Suliang felt as if he had fallen into a soft place. On the bed? Next moment, Wan Qing walked forward first, with an intriguing smile on her face. My dear disciple, I haven't seen you for a long time. Have you ever thought about becoming a master? I will miss you very much as a teacher. Master, what do you want to do? Suliang panicked and retreated subconsciously. Then, he was caught by his master. Accompanied by several tearing sounds, a muffled sound was heard, followed by the sound of constant whipping as punishment. It wasn't until the sound in the room sounded that Tao Yao finally woke up and hurried up to knock on the door. Hey, brother Suliang, eldest sister, I'm still outside. Mu Qingqian, violent woman, open the door for me. Then, please open the door quickly, people want to get in. With a creak, the door opened, Yu walked out of the room with a satisfied look, and then pushed Tao Yao. Without enough time to say thanks, Tao Yao hurriedly walked in and closed the door tightly. Listening to the movement in the room, Yu had a smile on her lips. Although the progress has not yet been successfully carried out, it is already satisfactory. The harvest is pretty good. It wasn't until evening that the sounds in the room gradually stopped. Suliang was lying on the bed, looking at his ladies, with a helpless but warm smile on his lips. It seems that the task of giving yourself a holiday is still a long way to go. Aside. Tao Yao pressed Mu Qingqian, and the two made a rice bowl together. Now. The girl was still trembling occasionally and murmuring. I can't eat anymore, I really can't eat anymore. I have nothing left. Suliang reluctantly pulled the quilt and covered his ladies. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 684. Immediately. Then he got dressed and wanted to get up to see Yuji and the others. Since returning from the abyss, life has been very happy. But don't know why. Suliang always felt that such happiness was a bit unreal, as if there was always a crisis lurking somewhere. And that's when. Target character Wan Qing, the Sims has been unlocked. Does the host choose to simulate? The simulation about Master is actually unlocked. Chapter 591 Chapter 590 The most beautiful moment in the past. Ever since before meeting his master, the mission regarding his master had already appeared. Even at the beginning, the system did not give out any information about his master. Instead, let Suliang find it by himself. Looking for it on your own without any clues is extremely difficult. Even the previous tasks involving his girlfriend, sister, Ying Kaoj, Qin Wanyu, Mu Qingqian, and Tao Yao were not so difficult. At that time, Suliang's cultivation was still very weak, and he was simply confused about this task. Later, I met my master, was tested by my master, became a disciple, and experienced several simulations of my master. But then, there was no next step. Even until the simulations about Ying Kaoj and Qin Wanyu appeared, and until they practiced double cultivation with their master, they were unable to start the next simulation. The simulation was stuck at a very critical place, neither up nor down, and no new ones appeared, which surprised Sul Yang. To know. Except for his own master, everyone else's simulation must be completely completed before the next mission will appear. These special phenomena made Sul Yang feel that the simulation of his master was probably a very critical and important existence. But he never expected that the simulation about his master would appear at such a peaceful and happy time. What exactly is in this last simulation? Sul Yang didn't understand. In that case, come and see for yourself. Lying back on the bed, Sul Yang closed his eyes and communicated with the system. Start the simulation. Target character, Wan Qing, the final simulation begins. Simulation countdown for 1 minute. I wish you a pleasant journey. The familiar darkness appeared again, swallowing Sul Yang's consciousness. Hundreds of miles of peach blossoms flew across the sky. On top of the peach blossoms, True Lord Liasu held his disciple in his arms and walked slowly. Master, Master, how about we get married after we go back? Wan Qing was very excited and said happily. When I got married to my master, I skipped the process directly. Is it okay if I got it right in one step? If you keep messing around, I will throw you down. However, Liasu Zhenjun glanced at his disciple lightly. But the tenderness and doting in his eyes could not be concealed. How could he not know what his disciple was thinking? In the past, after all, we were masters and apprentices, and there were many inconveniences. If they are really together, I don't know how much rumors they will have to endure. Maybe neither of them care about this. But you should always think about your disciple. But now, after fighting alone against the Changsheng family and returning with a great victory, it seems that no one in the world dares to say anything about true monarch Liasu. The most important is, True Lord Liasu's cultivation was previously difficult and stagnant, and he has never been able to break through the death barrier. But a breakthrough has been made, and there seems to be no need to worry about Xiao Yuan. In this case, his eyes moved slightly, but True Lord Liasu still sighed and said nothing more. Seeing my master like this, Wan Qing was not disappointed, nor did she care about anything. Wan Qing rested her little head on the master's chest, rubbed it against her, and narrowed her eyes comfortably. Now, the master is already close to death, but his longevity is intact. I will always be by his side and accompany him. The biggest obstacle seems to be gone. That being the case, time is still very long, so there is no need to rush. All in all, master or whatever, I want to decide Wanking. The peach blossoms fell all the way. Liasu Zhenjun put down the disciple in his arms and said lightly, go and practice. As a teacher, you should also consolidate your cultivation. Although I gained a lot of insights when I broke through before the battle, a huge battle ensued, and the foundation was not very stable. True Lord Liasu must first comprehend and practice, and then stabilize his cultivation. After defeating the Changsheng family this time, the other party might not give up at all, right? Thinking about it carefully, it was true that on such an important day in a dignified family, in front of a room full of guests, he alone knocked on the door and defeated the owner, the ancestor. How can a noble family endure such humiliation? People from the Changsheng family are no match for True Lord Liasu, but so what? As a family member with a wide network of contacts, there will always be a few acquaintances whom he can ask for help to deal with true monarch Liasu together. At times like this, strength becomes even more important. Everything. All to protect her. He looked back at his disciples who had changed back to their usual clothes and were busy in the yard, starting to tidy up. Liasu Zhenjun finally showed a faint smile, turned around and entered the room. This practice lasts for 1 day and 1 night. On the second night, True Lord Liasu ended his training only after he felt that his cultivation had been completely stable and even improved. Really? Is fighting the best way to improve your cultivation? After this battle, I gained more insights than before during the years of hard training. But, for the sake of your own cultivation, you just randomly find people to fight and fight? How could you do such a thing? Shaking his head, True Lord Lyasu opened the room, wanting to see what his disciple was doing. But then, there was a soft little girl leaning on her legs. True Lord Lyasu was startled, lowered his head and looked. It was his disciple who had fallen asleep. Why is she here? And looks very tired? True Lord Lyasu stuck his head out and took a look outside the door. At a glance, he saw several meals neatly placed outside the door. The latest meal still had a warm smell, obviously it had just been brought here not long ago. Did this girl prepare it for herself? To ensure that you can have hot meals immediately after leaving quarantine? 3 meals a day are enough, and there is even enough for a midnight snack. From this point of view, this girl has clearly been guarding her. When I was practicing, except for cooking, this girl probably never left for a moment, right? This girl. True Lord Lyasu shook his head and sighed. It's so stupid that it makes people feel bad. Also, very likable. There was silence for a moment. True Lord Lyasu lowered his body and picked up his disciple. He took off his shoes and coat and placed his disciple on his bed. Immediately, lying next to his disciple, True Lord Lyasu hugged Wan Qing gently, with a gentle smile on his lips. Go to sleep, my teacher is here, you don't have to be afraid of anything. Next moment, it seemed that he felt the warm and familiar breath of his master. Wan Qing also had a smile on her face, arched her head in the direction of True Lord Lyasu, found the most comfortable position, smacked her lips, and then she calmed down and her breathing became completely steady. Very comfortable and cozy feeling. This moment, True Lord Lyasu's body stiffened for a moment. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 685. But he relaxed completely. After tucking his disciple into bed, True Lord Lyasu held her in his arms and closed his eyes as well. Forget it, just let this girl like you be wild. But, as we have agreed, we can only be bold and don't push ourselves too far. Early the next morning, Wan Qing woke up from her sleep, feeling that she was in a warm place and didn't want to wake up for a long time. I was surrounded by Master's warm breath. In my sleep, I dreamed that I was wearing a wedding dress and marrying Master. It was such a good dream that I didn't want to wake up. I just don't know when this will happen in reality. Wan Qing stretched out and smacked her lips. It felt like it was still early, and she didn't seem to be in a hurry to wake up. I'm still a little sleepy. This warm and comfortable feeling makes me want to stop. I don't want to move at all. That being the case, then take another break. After arching her head and rubbing her little head in front of her, Wan Qing found the most suitable and comfortable position. He continued to close his eyes, looking very cute. But then, Wan Qing woke up. No, something's wrong. Yesterday, I obviously slept outside the Master's room. I have been waiting for Master for a day and a night. I was really sleepy and Wan Qing couldn't bear it anymore, so I finally fell asleep. I slept outside the door of Master's room so that I could be there when Master woke up. I met Master immediately. But it was outside the door, so there wouldn't be such a warm embrace. Could it be that Master came out of seclusion, carried him into the room, and then slept together? This idea was so wonderful that Wan Qing couldn't believe it. Slowly he opened his eyes a little and took a look, then quickly closed them again. Wan Qing felt a little more excited and happy in her heart. Well, I'm sure, it's Master's chest. After all, I have been sleeping with him for so long. I am already familiar with him and cannot be more familiar with him. The Master actually carried him into the room and slept with him. I was so happy that if I wasn't afraid that master would find out that I was awake, he would kick me out. Wanqing almost laughed out loud with joy. Opening her eyes a little again, Wanqing took another look. Confirm again that it is master and I am not dreaming. Subconsciously, she hugged her a little tighter, and Wanqing's little head rubbed against her master's arms. Ah, it is indeed master's embrace, so warm and comfortable. Although I used to often sneak into master's bed and sleep with master in my arms. But that kind of behavior where you take the initiative but your master resists. It feels completely different from master's own proactive behavior at this moment. And just when Wanqing wanted to confirm again, True Lord Liasu suddenly said, "Okay, how long do you want to pretend? Now that you're awake, get up quickly." Immediately. Ignoring Wanqing and getting up on his own, Mr. Liasu put on his clothes and paused for a moment. "Master, I'm going to make breakfast for you. Get up quickly. After dinner, my master will supervise your practice. Your cultivation has fallen a lot now, you can't let down any more. Know it?" Wanqing sat up and stretched. The girl's unique slenderness, softness, and youthful vitality make people's hearts beat for a moment, as if their heart skipped a beat. Even Liasu Zhenjun was stunned for a moment, then came back to his senses and walked out on his own. However, he himself didn't notice that his steps were much faster than usual, as if he was trying to escape. But Wanqing saw the scene in her eyes and smiled unconsciously. "Really, if you want to see it, you can see it. The whole person must belong to the master. If the master wants to see it, how can he refuse? Master, you are really not frank. Looking at her appearance, you obviously like her very much. Why don't you want to admit it? Forget it, it doesn't seem like a good idea to force master too much. As long as you understand master's intention, that's enough." He looked down at his intact clothes. Wanqing pouted again. "Master, you idiot, I have given you such a good opportunity, but you don't even know how to take the initiative." He lay back again and felt the master's breath for a moment. Wanqing got up with satisfaction, went back to her room, changed her clothes, and went to eat breakfast cooked by her master. After breakfast, in the yard, True Lord Liasu stood with his hands behind his back and said seriously, "Show your cultivation progress. I want to see how far you are now." "Oh, I know." Wanqing stuck out her tongue, feeling that she might be scolded by her master. "After all, I have been worried about master's situation recently, so my practice has naturally fallen behind a lot. Originally, I wanted to pester master to teach people step by step, but now it seems that it is a bit impossible. Then we'll have to wait until next time." Full of ideas, Wanqing began her presentation. After performing one set of martial arts skills after another, Wanqing looked at her master's frown and stood there obediently, waiting for his master's lesson. "I just hope that master can scold me a little softer, otherwise, people will be unhappy." However, True Lord Liasu took a step forward, patted Wanqing's little head, and comforted softly. "Although your training progress has indeed fallen a little, it's not much. It doesn't matter. You have worked very hard. This is my master's mistake. I need to make it up to you." Such a huge change in her master's attitude shocked Wanqing, and for a while, she was still a little uncomfortable with it. Waving her hands repeatedly, Wanqing panicked. "No, no need. Master is already good enough. It's me, the disciple, who didn't practice seriously. I can't blame master. No, compensation must be made." True Lord Liasu said very seriously. "So, in order for you to catch up with the progress of your cultivation, I have decided to teach you step by step. Before your cultivation reaches the original progress, my teacher's teachings will not stop, so be mentally prepared. Because he is the master, his disciples' cultivation has been affected. As a master, of course I have to make up for it. It's perfectly normal to teach step by step, right? True Lord Lyaso kept thinking in his heart, wondering if he was looking for a suitable reason for himself. And the other side. Wan Qing was already stunned. Master actually wants to take the initiative to teach me step by step? Obviously this is the kind of treatment I get only because I have been acting like a spoiled child in the past. It also. Great. Chapter 592 Chapter 591 The Connected Fragments. This surprise made Wan Qing overjoyed and almost laughed out loud. If she hadn't been worried that her master would cancel her teaching if she laughed, she would have laughed a long time ago. Yeah, well, since master said so, then I agree. Wan Qing nodded and said in surprise. Since his breakthrough in cultivation, master seems to have really changed a lot. Without Xiaowen's worries and constraints, master seems to be surprisingly more frank. Although it's still not honest enough, it's much better than before. From her master's attitude, Wan Qing could feel a hint of the thoughts hidden in her master's heart. And this made her feel happy. Master, let's start quickly. Wan Qing couldn't wait. This move should be like this. True Lord Lyaso said softly, teaching his disciple responsibly. Study seriously. This is very important. You must not be careless. Oh, I got it. Wan Qing came back to her senses immediately, stuck out her tongue, and her pretty face turned red. It's obviously your fault, master, so why should you blame others? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 686. After all. Master, your teaching method is so unique. It is so different from the original one. How can I calm down? It was different from before when she hugged Wan Qing from behind and started teaching her step by step. This time, True Lord Lyaso stood in front of Wan Qing, facing Wan Qing. Holding Wan Qing's jade hand with both hands, the two were very close. Wan Qing could even feel her master's warm breath on her head. Even if he is just standing still, his face is already filled with master's aura. Not to mention that during teaching, the two of them would rub against each other just by making a slight move, which made Wan Qing even more unbearable. This feeling of being able to kiss the master while standing on tiptoes is really good. As a rebellious disciple, Wan Qing would feel sorry for herself if she didn't take action. But I don't know how master will react, so I don't dare to act. Although I have already felt a little bit of my master's thoughts deep in my heart. But what if I guessed wrong? Wouldn't it be very awkward to get along with master? The more you like it, the more you will worry about gains and losses. Okay, let's move on to the next one. There was a smile on Zhenjun Lyaso's face. Some of my master's special skills consume a lot of energy, but their power is quite impressive. If you learn it, it's very good for self-defense. You can protect yourself even when your master is away. How about it? Do you want to learn it? However, the opportunity to learn master's unique skills did not make Wan Qing happy at all. Now, her heart was filled with the words, "My teacher is not with you." Master, where are you going? Wan Qing immediately panicked and held master's hand. Don't you want me anymore? No, I am very obedient. I will do whatever master says. Never leave me, okay? If there is no master, what fun would this life have? Even if I learn a powerful skill, what's the use of it? No matter what, Wan Qing didn't want to leave her master. Regarding his disciple's panic, True Lord Lyaso gave her a strange look. What are you talking about? When did my master say he was letting you go? Just because I'm a teacher can't always be by your side. There will always be times when I'm not here. At that time, if you encounter danger, you can use my teacher's unique skills to protect yourself. Silly girl, even if you want to leave now, I'm not willing to let you go. How could I leave you? Yes, is that so? Wan Qing was stunned for a moment, then let out a long sigh of relief. Just don't leave. No matter what, I don't want to leave master. As long as I can be with master. Ups and downs, emotional excitement. Looking at her master again, Wan Qing couldn't bear it anymore. Standing on tiptoes, he kissed her. Master, I know it is very presumptuous of me to do this. But let me be bold just once. I like master so much that I really can't help it. However, True Lord Liasu stopped Wan Qing directly. He looked at his disciple who was a little disappointed and had tearful eyes. True Lord Liasu sighed. Give me some more time, okay? When I truly understand my feelings, when I am really ready, when I get used to calling myself a husband instead of a teacher, when I really think everything through, I will definitely give you a satisfactory answer. After hearing this, Wan Qing's eyes, which were still a little disappointed, immediately lit up. Wan Qing nodded heavily. She already understood her master's thoughts. This is good, this is good. Then, after this unexpected joy, the lives of the master and the apprentice seemed to have returned to normality. Certainly, Zhenjun Liasu seemed to have no resistance to his disciples' intimacy. He would let his disciples hug him and act like a baby. When eating, he would let his disciple rest in his arms and feed him himself. During the practice, he would hold his disciple in his arms in the name of teaching step by step. Even at night, True Lord Liasu did not stop his disciple from getting under the covers. Certainly, anything that goes too far is of course not allowed. But even so, Wan Qing was already very happy and satisfied. She could feel that her master was gradually adapting and gradually accepting the unspoken feelings he had buried in his heart. Perhaps it won't be long before my master gives me a surprise. Wan Qing thought about the future with a sweet smile on her lips. Certainly, in this ordinary life, there have been some ups and downs. For example, the Changsheng family came to the door with helpers. Then he was beaten violently by True Lord Liasu himself and thrown out. After several times in succession, the Changsheng family seemed to realize the gap in strength and no longer dared to come to visit them again. For another example, a strange woman came to her door and asked her master to help her make a doll body. Are you saying that you want to replace your own body and avoid the wear and tear of time? Wan Qing is not interested in wear and tear. Although Wan Qing couldn't figure out why he wanted to make a doll body, he didn't really care. On the contrary, what this woman did was really strange, which made Wan Qing take a second look and remember it in her heart. I vaguely remember, what is this woman's name? Forget it, it's more important to pester your master for advice. This day, it was very unusual that Liasu Zhenjun took the initiative to speak and invited. There is a peach blossom forest at the foot of the mountain. It is the season when the peach blossoms are in full bloom. It is very beautiful. Why don't we go take a look together? Chapter 593 Chapter 592 The world is intolerable and the whole world is an enemy. Yeah. Wan Qing nodded, very happy. As long as I am with my master, no matter where I go, I will be happy. But don't know why. Looking at her master's serious look, Wan Qing felt something was wrong. But what is wrong? I can't seem to figure it out either. In the peach blossom forest. Now, the peach blossoms are in full bloom, seeming to dye the whole world into a pink color like peach blossoms. Wandering among them, peach blossoms are falling all around, making it feel like a fairyland. Wanqing likes this place very much. As soon as he walked in, he took his master and looked left and right together. He looked so happy and excited that he couldn't stop at all. Of course. After just a moment, she got tired of playing, and sat under a tree to rest with her master. He stared blankly at his disciple's beautiful face with a sweet smile. True Lord Lyasu took a deep breath, as if he had made up his mind. Wanqing, shall we get married? Okay. Wanqing nodded lightly, hugged Master's arm, and leaned on Master's shoulder. This moment, she felt as if the whole world had become sweeter. In the yard between the two of them, Wanqing was happily arranging something. Finally, after waiting for so long, Master finally expressed his intention. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 687. I can finally be truly with my master. Although the difference between the feelings Master gave me about the things I did with Master before was not very different from when we were actually together. But, after all, without such an identity, there are some things that cannot be done. No matter how intimate you are, you can't do it. This is Master's bottom line, and it is also my expectation. But now, you should be able to do all these things, right? Humming an unknown song in her mouth, Wanqing sewed her and her master's clothes stitch by stitch. Of course you have to make the real wedding dress yourself. This is what belongs to myself and master alone, and cannot be compared to any splendor and luxury. The day I put on these clothes, I will no longer be able to call ourselves master. Lang Jun. It's also a very good title. I feel very happy just thinking about it. Unconsciously, a smile appeared on Wanqing's pretty face. At this moment, with a creak, the door was pushed open, and True Lord Lyasu walked in. Disciple, are you all ready? Yeah, everything is ready. Wanqing happily showed her and Master's clothes to Master. How's it going, Master? Does it look good? Well, it looks good. True Lord Lyasu praised Wanqing seriously, and then patted Wanqing's little head. If you don't rush it for a while, you still have some time, which is always enough. You have to prepare all of this in advance. How can you say enough is enough? Wanqing did not agree with her master's idea. And if you don't do this, you have nothing else to do. I simply can't bear to complete these things, and the anticipation in my heart can no longer be suppressed. Okay, this little thing is up to you. True Lord Lyasu shook his head helplessly. By the way, Master, who should we invite? Wanqing suddenly asked. When you get married to your master, you should invite a lot of people, right? After all, now that my master is very famous, admired by countless people, and has a wide network of contacts, it seems that there is nothing wrong with inviting some people to watch the ceremony. Although I really want to be alone with my master, I don't want to be disturbed at all. But Wanqing can understand it. Didn't you say you don't like too many people, so I didn't invite you? True Lord Lyasu shook his head, full of affection. As long as you don't like it, we won't do it. Really? Wanqing immediately became happy. Although this is just a small thing, it seems like nothing. But it is precisely because of this that we can see the master's pampering towards him. This is what is truly worth being happy about. Well, get ready. True Lord Lyasu nodded, turned, and walked out of the room. However, the moment you walk out of the room, True Lord Lyasu's face became serious. Looking up at the sky, True Lord Lyasu murmured to himself. The sky is going to change. The higher your cultivation level, the closer you are to the so-called way of heaven. Nature. The more you can feel things that ordinary people can't feel. But so what? True Lord Lyasu whispered to himself. If mountains and seas stand in front of us, I will cut them open. I'm already prepared, and it seems like there's nothing to worry about. Stepping away, while Wan Qing was making her preparations, True Lord Liasu was also making his own preparations. Time passed day by day, and very quickly, the time agreed upon by the two was getting closer and closer. And at the same time, the weather seems to be getting worse day by day, often cloudy, and occasionally, it seems that the earth is shaking. It was early this morning. Wan Qing got up early and came to the door. Looking at the gloomy sky outside, Wan Qing pouted, feeling a little dissatisfied. What, it's obviously a happy day for Master and I, why is the weather so bad? Snort. I just wanted to ask Master to strike with his sword and split the dark clouds. But today is a happy day and it is not appropriate to make a big fight. Forget it, let them go for once. If people are happy today, they won't care about them anymore. Humming a song softly, Wan Qing came to the kitchen and prepared what she would use next. In addition to going to the church to get married with my master, of course I also have to prepare a lot of delicious food. You and Master only have this day in your life. On this happiest day, of course everything must be perfect. And just when Wan Qing was about to start taking action, but Zhenjun Liasu suddenly walked in from outside the door and said with a smile, I'm ready, let's go. Do you want to start so early? Wan Qing was startled, suddenly feeling a little panicked and shy. I heard that after paying homage to the bride, you have to enter the bridal chamber. But, people usually do it at night. Why does my master have to start so early in the morning? Wouldn't it be until tomorrow? Thinking about it carefully, why are you still looking forward to it and so excited? Master, wait for me, I'm going to change my clothes. Of course you have to change your wedding clothes and stuff. No. But True Lord Liasu shook his head and pulled Wan Qing, who looked confused, to the dining table in the room. Press Wan Qing to her side. True Lord Liasu picked up a chopstick dish for her and put it to her mouth. Come and try my handiwork. Wan Qing subconsciously opened her mouth and accepted the feeding. Immediately, he nodded with great satisfaction. As expected of Master, the food is so delicious, right? What to do if you don't eat enough at all? Then eating is not enough. Anyway, in this life, forever and ever, I will be with Master, and I can eat Master's food every day. And the next moment. However, True Lord Liasu poured 2 glasses of wine and placed them in front of the two of them. Come on, let's have a drink. Yes, it's that one. Wan Qing was startled and her pretty face immediately turned red. It is said that people who get married also need to drink a glass of wine. Could it be that this is the legendary? Well, if you understand it that way, it's not impossible. True Lord Liasu nodded, clinked glasses with his disciple, and finished the glass. Now, can I change my story? Wan Qing said in a daze. I have been called master for many years. Now, I want to change it to another title. That's really what it should be. True Lord Liasu nodded and said seriously. I really want to hear my wife call me. At this moment, the sky seemed a bit gloomier, and there were faint whirlpools appearing. At the bottom of the mountain, there seemed to be some noisy sounds. But at this moment, Wan Qing didn't notice it at all. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womeng. Chapter 688. Mother, Mother, what are you doing? It's so foul, isn't it? Since when did Master become so domineering and not ask others for their opinions? But so happy. After waiting for so long, being by his side for so many years, I finally waited for today. Wiping away her tears, Wan Qing shouted in a low voice with a feeling of shyness. Mr. Lang. The words fell. The sky suddenly turned dark, and then the ground shook. At the foot of the mountain, there seemed to be a sound like a mountain call. When the two of them were happiest, something unexpected happened. "Master, what happened?" Wan Qing stood up suddenly, looking at the sudden change in the sky around her with some confusion, and listening to the noisy sounds at the bottom of the mountain. She was very confused. "Do not know why." When Lang Jun called out just now, she seemed to feel something in her heart, as if she had made some huge mistake. So much so that the current incident gave her an extremely bad premonition. "It's nothing, it's just some common people making noise." True Lord Liasu was very calm, shook his head slightly, poured himself another glass of wine, drank the wine in one gulp, and then stood up. "Let's go and see my husband to see what it means to be the enemy of the whole world. How about that?" True Lord Liasu took Wan Qing's hand and said with a smile. "Heaven, the whole world is our enemy." Wan Qing was stunned for a moment, a little confused. Why would Master and I be enemies of the world? We have done nothing wrong at all, why should we be treated like this? Master, what happened? Wan Qing grabbed Zhenjun Liasu's hand in a panic. She didn't know why, but she was very panicked at the moment. Just like, "It seems that I will lose my master forever. As I said, it's just a little thing." True Lord Liasu shook his head and gently touched Wan Qing's head with a gentle smile on his face. "I promise you, nothing will happen. Absolutely, nothing will happen." After hearing this, Wan Qing relaxed. "In all the years that I have been with my master, except for the fact that he likes me, my master has never lied to me. This time, your master will certainly not lie to you, right? If master says it's okay, then it must be okay." Wan Qing firmly believes in this. Then, Wan Qing nodded lightly and hugged True Lord Liasu's arm, with a sweet smile on her face. "Then let's go. Isn't it just that the world is our enemy?" Chapter 594 Chapter 593 Thousands of years of reincarnation, the mortal world is waiting for you. As long as the master is still by his side, he has nothing to fear. Even if he dies in the end, so what? At worst, I'll just have to be with master in the next life. It doesn't matter, as long as I'm with master, it doesn't matter. The two walked slowly down the mountain, and as they got closer and closer to the foot of the mountain, Wan Qing gradually saw clearly what was happening at the foot of the mountain. That is, nearly endless people. Taoist sects, aristocratic families, good and evil sects, and even many immortal cultivators from all over the world came here together. The strength is extremely mixed, but the one standing at the front is a famous master in the world. And many of them are friends with True Lord Liasu. But now, these people looked at Zhenjun Liasu and Wan Qing, but their eyes were full of ferocity. It seemed that these two were the life and death enemies of all of them, and they could only vent their anger by killing them. "Why did you come to my place?" True Lord Liasu glanced across everyone's faces and asked lightly. Even facing such a lineup, he didn't feel the slightest bit afraid. It's as if these people are not worth mentioning at all. "Stop talking nonsense, Mr. Liasu, don't be stubborn anymore." Someone shouted coldly, as if because there was a companion beside him, the words were shouted with full force. If it were in the past, he would not even dare to breathe when facing the world-famous true monarch Liasu alone. "If you are stubborn, what do you mean by this?" True Lord Liasu glanced at him lightly. "I have always done things with no regrets, and yet I am still confused and unable to understand. Shameless, shameless. Some people sigh heavily throughout their lives. Zhenjun Liasu, I will wait until something goes wrong just to save you face and a way out. Do you dare to say that you don't know why? If you do this again, even we will be unable to save you. I have no regrets, so why do I need you to save me?" True Lord Liasu shook his head. "Everyone, you should go back. Otherwise, if something bad happens, Don't blame me for being merciless. At this moment, Wan Qing pulled Zhenjun Liasu's arm and whispered. Lang Jun, what are you talking about? Why can't I understand you? Don't know why. Although no one said it clearly, Wan Qing knew in her heart that what they said might have something to do with her. Is it because he is with his master? Just because he and his master were together, these people acted as if they and his master had made some huge mistake that was not allowed by nature, and came to ask for punishment? But what does this have to do with them? Why do I need to look at their faces when I am with my master? But then again, even if you are master, it is still difficult to face the whole world with your own strength, right? If something happens to master, what should I do, myself? Biting her cherry lips, Wan Qing fell into confusion. And the other side. But true Lord Liasu just patted her little head and smiled. Immediately. Then he turned his attention to everyone's faces. I know exactly why you came here, but this matter is between me and this girl and has nothing to do with you. Zhenjun Liasu. An elder from the Holy Land tapped his crutch heavily on the ground and sighed. Stop being stubborn, you should know the consequences of your choice. Master-disciple love is a taboo, it is not allowed by nature. As soon as these words came out, above the sky, a dark thunder suddenly flashed, strange and abnormal, carrying the power of destruction. Seem. There was a flash of thunderous punishment in it, which was frightening. At the same time, the earth cracked and the green mountains shook. Those with weak cultivation levels had difficulty even standing still. Just saying this fact actually caused changes in the world. The forbidden love between master and disciple is indeed forbidden by nature. Everyone present looked at the scene in inexplicable horror, secretly feeling frightened. Looking up at the sky, Liasu Zhenjun's expression did not change at all. After a while, he looked at the Holy Land elder again. I have already told you, what does this matter have to do with you? Why do you have to take care of it? Act as ordered and do justice on behalf of heaven and earth. Someone said loudly. Zhenjun Liasu, you have fallen in love with your apprentice. This has violated the rules of heaven and earth. Therefore, heaven has issued a decree and ordered us to act on behalf of heaven and earth and eradicate you, a pair of shameless people. If you are wise, I will die quickly and leave your whole body intact. The words just fell. True Lord Liasu then looked at the man's position. Now, who have you to interfere in my affairs? Get out. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womeng. Chapter 689. The last word fell. A powerful force suddenly appeared, hitting the man hard and knocking him away instantly. Before it hit the ground, there was already no sound. This time, everyone was silent. Especially those who thought that they would not be discovered if they were mixed in the crowd. Even if they were discovered, true Lord Liasu would not dare to kill him. Don't even open your mouth and say another word. For a while, the atmosphere in the venue seemed to have completely solidified. However, the drastic changes in the world are still continuing, as if the end of the world is coming. Tassel. A woman couldn't help but stand up and looked at true Lord Liasu with a complicated expression. Give up, you can't win. Is it really worth it for such a little girl? After the words fell, another man came out. He was a good friend of true Lord Liasu. Yes, Liasu, don't keep making trouble. It's not easy for you to practice so far. Why do you do this for a little girl? If you keep making trouble, you will die here. Immediately afterwards, countless people came forward to persuade true Lord Liasu. These people basically have some friendship with true Lord Liasu. Some are close friends and have known each other for many years. Some of them are even impressed by true Lord Liasu and have a deep love for him. Now, they are all trying to persuade true Lord Liasu to give up Wanqing and protect himself wisely. Listen to these words. Wanqing's face was a little pale, and the jade hands holding true Lord Liasu gradually turned white. She knew that her master would never give up on her like they said. Having been with her master for so many years, she knows her master too well. Now that she has said she likes him, she will stick to it no matter life or death. But if you persist to the end, master will die, right? How could this be possible? It's obvious that it's just two people falling in love with each other. Why is it so incompatible? Why does it become like this? Wanqing couldn't understand why she ended up with such a result even though she had always been so happy with her master. That's when true Lord Liasu patted Wanqing's little head gently and said with a smile, "Don't worry, as long as I'm here, nothing will happen." Immediately, true Lord Liasu actually ignored these advices and just looked at the sky. "I have always acted with integrity and followed my heart throughout my life. It was the same when I saved this girl, it was the same when I made this girl worship me as my teacher, and it's the same now when I want to marry this girl. It's not allowed by heaven? What does it have to do with me?" As soon as these words came out, the sky was filled with thunder in an instant, and streaks of black thunder struck down in the direction of true Lord Liasu, as if they were going to turn true Lord Liasu into ashes. However, true Lord Liasu actually stood like this under the thunder, motionless. "It seems that you all want to obey this so-called order of heaven and earth and kill me and Wanqing." After scanning the crowd, a smile suddenly appeared on Zhenjun Liasu's face. "There is no need for you to take action." He turned his head and stepped forward to hug Wanqing. True Lord Liasu said to her with a smile on his face, "Girl, I will send you to ascend. Since this world cannot tolerate it, then transcend this world. Even if you give up this cultivation, what's the problem?" Next moment, the aura on true Lord Liasu's body kept churning, and his aura kept rising. Just for a moment, it actually reached a point that shocked everyone. Everyone stared at the scene with their mouths open, and they had no doubt that if true Lord Liasu struck down with his sword at this moment, they would not be able to survive at all. Is true Lord Liasu, who has just escaped death, so powerful? With the long sword in his hand unsheathed, true Lord Liasu looked up at the sky and said loudly, "Today, I will give up all my cultivation and send Wanqing to become an immortal." "Ridiculous, you will die if you do this." Someone from the Holy Land yelled angrily, very angry at what true Lord Liasu did. "So what?" True Lord Liasu laughed heartily. He had never felt so happy before. Just pursuing the one you love is not allowed by nature and leads to conquests from you. What's the point in this world? Say it. The momentum rose again, and true Lord Liasu actually stripped off all his cultivation. Immediately, turning to look in the direction of the Holy Land, true Lord Liasu did not hesitate and slashed with his sword. One sword cuts off the fate of the Holy Land in the world. Under this sword, the earth shook and the mountains shook, the sky and the earth were eclipsed, and countless places of destiny exploded and turned into powder. Especially those where the holy lands of the world are located are directly shattered into pieces. This moment, everyone felt as if something inexplicable had been cut off and ripped out of themselves. Although it didn't seem to have any impact, it made them feel disappointed. "You are so brave." An elder from the Holy Land cursed angrily. He could clearly feel that this sword had really cut off the luck of the Holy Land in the world. "If there is no way to repair it, I am afraid that the entire world will be affected for countless years to come. How dare he do this?" With a puff, the Holy Land elder was so angry that he vomited blood, and his breath suddenly became weak. As for the attitude of the elders of the Holy Land, Liasu Zhenjun had no intention of paying any attention to it. This sword will open the gate of heaven and allow you to ascend. Glancing in Wan Qing's direction again, True Lord Liasu smiled softly and slashed with his sword. Under this sword, the sky suddenly opened up, as if the entire sky was split in half. A huge vortex formed in the sky, the storm howled, thunder bursts, and faintly, a portal appeared from the sky. Chapter 595 Chapter 594 The mysterious figure in white hides the truth behind it. With this sword, the heavenly gate actually opened. Go ahead. True Lord Liasu came to Wan Qing and gave everything he had to Wan Qing. Above the Tianmen, there seemed to be an inexplicable force coming from behind, leading Wan Qing to soar all the way up. As long as you enter the Tianmen, you will be an immortal in heaven. However, looking at the master who was gradually annihilated, tears kept pouring down Wan Qing's face. Sure enough, it's still the case. Think about it, how could master let something happen to him? No wonder, master has been much quieter than usual recently. It turns out that he had expected this moment. The sudden disappearance these days has caused master. Have you been preparing for this? You must have prepared all of your own cultivation in exchange for my ascension, right? But, master, without you, what would be the meaning of this ascension? Even if I am an immortal, if I can no longer be with you, this immortal will be very boring. What I really want has never been about ascending to immortality. Disciple, I just want to be by your side, and hearing you call me mother every day is enough. If not, even if you become an immortal in the sky, it will be nothing more than endless loneliness and pain, and a long life will not be as dull as the mortal world of just a few decades. It's okay if this immortal is not successful. I kowtow in front of the devil for 3,000 years, but when I look back on this mortal world, I will no longer be an immortal. Thousands of years of reincarnation, the mortal world is waiting for you. Master, see you again in this mortal world. By the time. If possible, let me be your master and protect you. In this case. Can I capture you earlier? A smile appeared at the corner of her mouth, and Wan Qing's figure gradually disappeared, entering reincarnation, just waiting to meet you again. Then. Since then. The sun and the moon reincarnate, and time flies. In reincarnation again and again. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 690. The girl who gave up on becoming an immortal has been waiting for him for 800 years. The love has not changed for 800 years, that figure has been engraved in my heart, and finally waited for this life. This life. I am your master, and it is my turn to protect you. I'll never let you go again. The darkness gradually receded, and when he opened his eyes again, Suliang looked to his side. All his ladies have gone out, leaving only his master with him. Moving forward, Suliang held the master in his arms and sighed. One is to give up all her cultivation and open the gate of heaven with one sword, so that she can ascend to immortality. One of them gave up on becoming an immortal and reincarnated in the mortal world for thousands of years, just to wait for him. The ending was just as Suliang expected, it was a real knife. And, looking back carefully, this ending is really full of contradictions. Is the forbidden love between master and disciple such a taboo thing? How could he actually arouse the intolerance of heaven and earth, causing heaven to issue a decree and mobilize all the power of the world, just to stop Zhenjun Liasu and Wan Qing? This is a bit too incredible. Now that Suliang is in love with his master and his apprentice, why is nothing happening? That's all. In the simulation screen, Suliang clearly captured a figure. And that figure was the truth that led to the death of the true monarch Liasu, the man known as Qing Emperor in the world. It was a beautiful figure dressed in white, hidden among the crowd, unknown to anyone. But don't know why. Suliang still caught some traces of the beautiful figure in white. What is the identity of that Bai Yiqianying? Why is she there and no one can see her? The most important is. Suliang recalled carefully and seemed to have vaguely seen an existence that was very similar to the beautiful figure in white. I have forgotten whether it was the end of a certain simulation or after practice. A fairy in white clothes appeared in the screen holding a hatchet in his hand, which was still stained with blood. At that time, Suliang thought carefully and didn't get the answer, so he didn't care. But now that I think about it, these two figures are really imaginary. So, is there any connection between these two figures? Or is this the same person? But if so, why do they frequently appear in incidents related to Suliang? After thinking about it carefully, Suliang had no clue and no clues to explore. But the only thing that is certain is that there must be something fishy in this matter. Definitely not to be underestimated. Then, I can only sigh, write this matter down for the time being, and investigate later. At this moment, feeling the warm embrace of her disciple, Wan Qing smiled softly and asked in confusion. What's wrong? Could it be that my good disciple wants to act like a spoiled brat to his master? If that's the case, you can do it at any time. You are welcome to act coquettishly with the master. Really, at such an old age, my disciple still wants to act coquettishly. It's really cute. Who wants to act like a spoiled brat? It was just because the simulation was over and Suliang was so excited that he couldn't control himself for a while. Please don't get me wrong. But, recalling the scene in the simulation, the girl named Wan Qing seemed to often hug her master and act coquettishly. Then what? True Lord Liasu always looked at her with an indifferent expression and said nothing. But Suliang knew that he was very happy and joyful in his heart. Just because of various reasons, he could only show such an indifferent look. In fact, he was also very entangled in his heart. Yeah, I just want to act like a spoiled brat. Suliang nodded confidently. Master has said that it is normal for apprentices to act coquettishly with master. In this case, master cannot refuse me, right? The words fell. Suliang didn't say anything, just buried his head in the peak of his head, rubbing and rubbing. Master, I want a hug. Wan Qing almost squirted out. Looking at this scene, she felt very strange. How strange. In the past, I was obviously looking forward to Master performing the scene for me. Even after getting together with Master, I asked Master to do this several times, but Master refused. At that time, I was really thinking about it day and night. But now that I see Master acting coquettishly, I feel a little complicated. Why? After blinking, Wan Qing's mood can be said to be quite complicated. Okay, the sisters are waiting for us. Wan Qing smiled and shook her head, patting Suliang gently. It's almost night now, why don't we go have dinner first? After hearing this, Suliang raised his head from his master's arms and looked at the sky outside. Sure enough, it was already night. It was really strange. It was obviously still in the morning when he and Yao Yao came back. After a simulation, is it already night? This simulation was really extremely long. It didn't seem right. After coming back, my ladies gave me a surprise. That surprise alone was already almost evening. And at the same time, it was okay if Wan Qing didn't remind him. As soon as Wan Qing reminded him, Suliang felt that he was really hungry. All I can say is that I spent the whole day today, traveling, playing with my wives, and then going through a simulation. It is indeed a bit expensive. Yeah, let's go eat. Suliang stood up and said. Master, what do you want to eat? I will do it now. You don't have to do it. Wan Qing shook her head and hugged Suliang's arm. Sisters have already made it, we can just go and eat. Is that so? That's all thanks to you. Suliang nodded and walked to the door with his master. Suddenly he remembered something and asked. By the way, master, do you know a woman wearing white clothes? White clothes, are you talking about Benjeo? Wanqing blinked, obviously confused about this. It seems that my master doesn't know about it at all. Or could it be said that the master who was about to ascend at that time could not actually see the beautiful figure in white at all? Suliang nodded thoughtfully. It seems that the origin of that beautiful figure in white is much bigger than I imagined. In this case, even if I want to investigate, I'm afraid it will have little effect. Forget it, let's do it bit by bit. Although there are doubts, don't rush it. Then. Suliang shook his head. It's okay, I just remembered some past events and wanted to ask. Come on, I'm starving. And when at the dinner table, Suliang pretended to be chatting and asked about the beautiful figure in white again. But this time, there was still no gain. Wanqing even asked curiously. My dear disciple, is there anything special about this woman in white? Why do you always ask about this person? As soon as these words came out, the expressions of the girls were all wrong. Okay, it's okay to have us, but you're still thinking about this woman in white? Or a woman we don't know. Say, who is this woman? You must tell the truth, otherwise, we will not spare you tonight, and we will make sure that you never get out of bed again. Let's see how you can find that woman in white. It's nothing, I just remembered some past events. Suliang hurriedly explained, not daring to ask any more questions. It seems that I still have to investigate on my own. Chapter 905 Investigation. It was late at night, but Suliang still had no idea of resting. Now,